We really hope you like this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe to get more content like this. Hi, Eleanor. Welcome to the Need2Know Comedy Show, and it's great to have you on. What part of the world are you in now?
I'm in a place called Hackney in the city of London.
All right, yeah. And how are things in London now? What's lockdown like?
It's not the bad. It's not the bad. It's
Not the baddest.
Our grammar is gone completely.
Yeah.
Stolen that. Banned grammar.
That's what Hackney did to you.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's worse in other parts of the country. We're kind of getting away with it for the moment. But
all right.
Where are you?
Well, I'm outside Dublin, so it's not so bad. Dublin is locked down because they were being bold and mixing with each other.
With having sex, is that what the problem?
Maybe. Probably kissing anyway. At least kissing.
Very bad for you.
Yeah. So I'm outside in Drogheda, and so we're freer. Now it's not much different. It just means the pubs are open.
Yeah. Right.
And you can go into a cafe. You don't have to sit outside. I was in Dublin yesterday, and you have to sit outside, and it's getting quite chilly. The weather, it's not nice.
For how long are we going to be able to do that for? Not much longer.
No. So it's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, so what about comedy-wise? How are you feeling about this? Is it affecting you not being able to do have you done any live gigs?
Yeah, I've done a few live ones and I've done a few Zoom ones. Yeah, I miss it terribly doing it, and I'm depressed because I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I've gone up and down as well. Up and down. Feeling. But what about online stuff? Have you done that? Apart from, Zoom, have you done any like sketchy stuff or just?
No, I haven't done the sketchy bits. Like the I've done Instagram where you're kind of doing more of a chat. It's more like a chat show format seems to work better.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
That's
stand
good.
Stand up, not so much for me anyway.
It's so weird because I realized that, okay, like when I'm doing comedy, I enjoy hearing laughter because I know what I've said is funny. But what I also get during the laugh is just a moment where my brain can go, okay, what's next? We can relax for a sec. So that's what the laughs are. They're helpful to me in that. So I've done a couple of gigs where I've had no laughs, so I don't know whether it was funny or not. But also, I've not had those moments to kind of pause my brain for a second. So the whole thing just flies through, and afterwards, I'm in a bit of a daze, going, "What the hell happened there?" I don't know.
Yeah, I find it's like doing an audition. You feel like,
oh yeah.
Afterwards, you go, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I could have done it a different way." Did they like me?
Yeah. No response at all.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that about the laughter. I remember, you probably know this yourself. If you do bigger shows, when you start doing bigger shows, you get longer laughs because more people in the audience laugh. And you get longer to think then, and you appear much quicker. Do you know what I mean? Because you go, oh my God, she was so quick with that retort. And do you know what I mean? And then you go back to the clubs, you go, oh no, you have to be much more on the ball in the clubs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And those big, like I've only done 2 or 3 of them in my time, but like it can set your timing like off if you're not used to it. Like you can be talking and then the second wave of laughter comes along, and you look like you don't know what you're doing.
You look like you're annoyed with them for laughing.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the clubs and you're awake and you realize, oh, I don't have as long to think now.
Yeah.
Annoying. So anyway, let's go back to your roots. I've talked to you before, and I know that you like were working in a proper job and everything, and then you decided to do comedy. So was that something that was in your for years you were thinking, I want to do comedy?
No, not at all. No. I had even worked in a comedy club for down in the GPO when it was in Galway. I was a student
Oh.
at the time, and I was collecting glasses. And even though I was part of the whole scene, it still didn't dawn on me that it might be something I'd like.
No way.
Yeah. I even one night I was on the I took a night off work and I went on the lash in the place I worked in the GPO, and there was comedy on. So I said, I'll hang on and I'll stick around for this. And I got so drunk, but I had the confidence that people have when they're, when you're drunk in your place of work, you're totally bulletproof, confidence wise. So, and I saw the comedy, I was watching the comedy, and I thought it was desperate. I couldn't believe, I hadn't paid for it, but I couldn't believe, I was outraged on behalf of other people who've been asked to pay for it. I started heckling the comedian, like to the point of disrupted his show, because he came down off the stage, took the pint I had in my hand off me and brought it up onto the stage to kind of try and embarrass me a little bit into shutting up. And that didn't even work. I remember I was so drunk, I walked up onto the stage and took my pint back in the middle of, he was trying to, recreate the room or, begin his set. And I just went back up and took it. I don't know what, I had zero respect for.
Oh my God, you were actually the nightmare audience member.
Yeah. And I know that comedian now, and I have worked with them, and I wouldn't dare tell them that was me.
All right. No way.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Who was it? Well, really.
No.
It
was you, Joe. It was you.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
I was drunk as well, actually. I forgot. So what clicked in your head? What made you go, I want to do stand up? I mean, that's a really odd thing that a lot of people I talk to here, to be honest, they're thinking about it for a while, going, should I do it?
I reckon, like, even though I was very disrupted to the stand-up that night, what it does say is that I had very strong opinions on it, on how it should be done.
Yeah.
So I guess the step into doing stand-up became a bit of a, put your money where your mouth is. If you're all that off stage, you should get on stage. And but it didn't happen until much later. And I did a stand-up comedy course. That people trash comedy courses, and they say, oh, you can't be a good comedian if you went through a course to get on stage. I've heard that kind of put forward, but I don't know, for me, I don't think I would have been able to get up on stage if I hadn't had the kind of that bit of just connection with other people who are trying to do the same thing. I don't think you can teach somebody to be funny. I don't think that works, but I think some people kind of need a bit of kind of just have a bit of camaraderie about what you're going to go and do, and that was very helpful for me.
Yeah, no, I've spoken to a few people, like Erin Tett did a course in Southampton, of all places. And then I think she did a year in New York as well. No, it wasn't just stand-up, like it was a comedy course, though, with all sorts. And I'm sure it's great to be able to try out stuff without that ridiculous pressure of a drunken...
And in a way, it kind of gives you a false sense of security, because we're all buoying each other up and telling each other what's that the stuff is good, so you're going to find out anyway when you go up in front of a proper audience. But for somebody who doesn't have the kind of, I guess, the skills to kind of find out where to go and just walk up to a club on your own and try and get on stage and go through that whole cringy process that is, part of the first gig. The comedy courses are helpful for that, I think.
Yeah, and also, like, if someone's told you that material is good, well, then you have that in your head. This is good. Like, you're delivering it with the confidence that this is good material.
which, as we both know, is very important and a major reason why some stuff works and some stuff doesn't.
Yeah, you can have the best material in the world, and you just, if you don't have the confidence in it, well, it's not going to work. If the audience see you don't have the confidence in it.
Yeah. You have to tell them it's funny. I believe.
Actually, to be honest, usually the very confident comedians are actually rubbish, and they're very confident.
Yes, but if they were real people, if they really wanted the challenge, what they would do is they would give their material away and get somebody who doesn't have confidence to deliver it, and then we'd know if they were funny or not.
Yeah. Let me try your material. I'll show you.
Yeah. I'll show you how shit it can be. Michael McIntyre. So I like him. I like him actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't care. So I know you did, like, you were in Dublin for a while and all that. When did you do your first Edinburgh show?
Oh, I did it back in, I think, 2007 maybe.
Right.
Yeah. I was doing stand-up about 3 years at that stage, and I feel like now, looking back, I started going to Edinburgh, I think, a bit too soon. I think since coming to the UK, I've kind of realized people kind of hold back a lot longer, and they're a lot more strategic about their careers over here. And that kind of can pay off by, meaning that they build up a bit of head of steam, and they only do Edinburgh when they're, they have to do it.
They have to do it, right?
Yeah, while I was like so kind of eager to experience and, learn about stand-up, that I kind of went, as soon as I thought I could go.
Really? Yeah. So you think you shouldn't have gone, and you just had like you built up an hour of material, I guess. Then.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I don't really. I don't know whether. I think time will tell. I don't know whether it's like, in a way, I did learn an awful lot by doing it that I wouldn't have otherwise. So, like, I don't know if your measure of someone's success is how how much money they make at stand up, then I think that was the wrong thing to do. But I think if you're kind of, looking at who's kind of, really developed as a stand up, I think maybe, you might say that it's a good idea to go early.
But you were always, I mean, I know from you doing club gigs in Dublin that you were always trying out a new thing rather than resting on a set that which is it's brave, because that in the middle of trying out new stuff you go, well, I know I could just fall back on something that's tried and trusted, but you're just going, no, I need to do new stuff. Is that were you always like that?
Yeah, it was, and I think I get bored very easily, and I find it very hard to summon up the kind of joy of performance if I'm tired of what I'm doing. I think that's a big part of being a comedian, is being able to kind of continue to find that love of what you're doing when the stuff is, sometimes it can feel like you've moved on in your life and it was a different person who wrote the stuff that you're delivering. I have it myself at the moment. I have a situation where I came out of the closet a couple of months ago, but I don't have 20 minutes of material on, being out of the closet. So some of the stuff I've been saying on stage at the gigs I'm doing at the moment is written before I came out of the closet, and it feels like a different person wrote those jokes.
Yeah.
And I have together at the moment, it's kind of, I'm doing a bit of both, but I'm very anxious to get to the point where I'm doing all material that was written post closet post
Yeah.
COVID. But at the moment, you know, it's transitional, shall we say?
Yeah. Right.
I
Oh, yeah.
don't.
That was.
I
Yeah.
guess I don't have I don't have the number of new material gigs that I normally would have in my diary, where I can go and just get that phase over with very quickly, while it's becoming more drawn out, and that's the real problem with the pandemic is that I'm in this situation.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's particularly if you've made a huge life decision and you want to address, or you feel you have to address it on.
Mm. Mm.
Ah, shite, isn't it? The fucking pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
so, all right. So, but like, so then, how many? You've done loads of Edinburgh shows, right?
I've done so, no, this was going to be my ninth show, I think.
That's loads. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's loads. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you built up an audience then? A regular people who come every year.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the last year was the first, like I really had a sense of it, like, and the last 2 years I haven't felt like when I go to Edinburgh, like I'm starting from the very beginning again. That was what it felt like for the first,
Mm.
you know, 5 or 6 times. You know, that, you know, just it just takes so long to kind of you know, be a name up there and be who people will seek out, or, you know, have people say, oh, we always go and see that person every year. That's a nice feeling when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you have a theme then? I mean, if you were going to do Edinburgh this year, would you that what you would have addressed would have been coming out of the closet? Would that have been?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure whether I'd have taken it head on, you know, or trying to do something a bit surreal with it. But yeah, it would definitely would have been the core of what I was doing. So yeah, we just do it the next time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what about other years? What kind of would you have worked on a theme?
I just attacked it in different ways every time I've done it. Um, 1 year I tried to do just all the best bits of stand up that I had and try and do it like a long set
Yeah.
uh, for an hour. And then other years I kind of worked out, I said to myself, there was a year where I said to myself, what do I want to be doing at the end of the show on stage? And then just work backwards
Ah,
from that, and so that what I want to do is the logical conclusion of what's gone before.
mm.
Uh, so that was, I wanted to be on stage in a situation where I had to give Nigel Farage oral sex. That was
Ah!
the so I said to myself, what has to happen earlier in the show for that to be the only logical conclusion to the show.
Right, that's incredible. That's amazing. That's how the writers of One Foot in the Grave apparently work that way. They,
Really?
yeah, they think of a mad thing that Victor Meldrew would be doing or something, and work backwards and go, how did that happen? Yeah.
Okay, right.
So, oh, you didn't know. So you were working the same way. That's a great way of doing stuff, I would imagine. Well, probably frustrating when you're writing it, I'd imagine, but.
It was fun, very very fun, and it makes you kind of, it makes you like challenges you to kind of come up with whatever crazy solutions. And it like, so some years that's how it suits you to work. Then the next year you might be like, no, I kind of have to do more stuff that's personal about, you know, my life this year, like that, like the coming out show might not, that approach might not suit
Mm.
write a show about coming out. But yeah, like yeah, that's, it's nice that there's like, I don't have one way of doing it, I guess. I just try and work it out as I go along.
Mm. And you've done loads of work in Australia as well.
Very, yeah, very really enjoyed going out there. The 2 times I got to go to Melbourne Festival, and did a bit of touring around afterwards. They have this road show, Melbourne Comedy Roadshow, and you get to go to places like I went to Queensland and out west to quite remote coastal places, like, because they're so, you don't really, I didn't get like how far off the beaten track some of these places can be, but like very very remote, but like, you know, it's such a you know, joy to kind of like that's the thing that stand up can give you, like that you kind of get, you know, brought somewhere like that. It's amazing.
Yeah. And like, is there a different reaction from an audience in Australia than in Britain?
It depends on, like, it's what I would say about Australia. Like, do you know the way at the moment performing comedy in a city is a lot different to performing it down the country? Like that gap, I think, in every country is quite stark. But in Australia, there's nowhere where that's more stark than in Australia, because I would have started, the times I went, I would have done shows in Melbourne at the beginning, and you can't be subtle enough in Melbourne. Like if they see the joke coming, they just look at you like you're dirt. You know, you really have to be like super cool and slick with them. But like when you go you know, out into more remote places, you know, it's very different. It's, you know, what are you bringing at, you know, don't you know, just say what you mean, you know. Don't be going around the point, get to it quickly.
Yeah. Have you ever pulled back from material because you go, I'm in a small town and it's going to really offend people?
I should have done that a few times. Yeah.
I don't know. I've done it once or twice. Well, I just when there's an old lady and I'm talking about Jesus or something, and then I go,
"Oh, right."
And once I asked this woman, I go, "Are you offended by this?" She went, "Yes, I definitely am."
Right.
I said, look, I'll skip over it then, because she was great crack. You know, she was really nice.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to totally. I for some reason thought I could undermine her whole religion, her faith. Thought I had that power. Probably not.
Oh God, what a great moment.
That would have been to turn her into an atheist. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been a wonderful moment. No, I just would have sown the seeds of doubt, probably. But I don't know. I don't think I was that really. But have you ever tried America? You've been out there. I know you were at the Kansas City Irish Festival. That's hardly breaking America.
That's great. Yeah, that was a great trip, and kind of connected to that, I've kind of done just little bits of gigs here and there. Like I've no kind of I've never made any kind of serious endeavor to kind of be a thing over there, but like you know, it's still very interesting to do gigs and you know, see what it's like over there. And I guess there's a lovely process in learning how to adapt, contextualize yourself when you get there. Just the first few gigs, because you'll be going back over, you'll be using old material, and then you kind of start to realize how you can talk about your experience over there, and that's satisfying, I think.
I think so. I think like you can kind of use most material everywhere if it's about universal things like family. I mean, the Irish families and the whatever it is, religion, family, whatever. I mean, everybody has those same experiences. Not as long as you're not talking about total unique things that are happening in a small town that you grew up in. But
yeah, when I went the last time, I think I did like 3 gigs in San Francisco, and I guess I was trying to work out like how to mention the Trump thing, over there. And what I think I found out, you know, I'd love to have gotten more time to test this out, but like what I found, you get a lot of mileage over in just in that particular city by saying and assuming that the audience love Trump.
Yeah,
You know, by you know, kind of maybe saying something about Trump and then going, but I'm sorry, don't worry, you know, you don't need to worry. I really like him and I know he's your president and I know you all really look up to him. And that was where there was ground. You know, I could have plowed that a bit more, but I didn't have, you know, you'd need to be there. Like, you know, I think if you had a couple of months over there, you could really have the crack with them about that kind of thing. And then, you know, you discover it was going to be completely different, you know, go down to Los Angeles, you know, they might have they might be, you know, you can only say that in San Francisco because they are so anti-Trump. It's such a dead place. But if you went to another one, you'd have to find a different way of just getting the.
Yeah, I'd say it could create tension in a room. Say, for example, Kansas City, where I'd say it's probably half and half. Or does it, like, people, from talking to people, they go, I know, people would confide on you about someone else, their friend, to go, I know she voted Trump, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
that would
really,
be so fun.
Yeah, you could create tension in a room. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you thought of, is TV a way you'd like to go? Like, from, I know you do a lot of live shows and everything, but would you? And I know you've done TV in Ireland.
We both did, yeah.
You've done loads of TV in Ireland, actually. What about in the UK? Is that somewhere you'd like?
Yeah, I would. I guess it's I would like to do a lot. They've good stand-up comedy shows over here. So I'd like to do like stand-up on television. So that's where I try and put myself forward.
Right, but you've done lots of character work here in Ireland, and God, I'm blanking on the names of the shows, but
Pictorial was the main one. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I just did whatever Barry Murphy fired my way in all of that.
And then but you've, like, so have you ever done, you've never done character work on live?
No, I haven't. No. I know you do a lot of that.
I do. I've done a fair bit in my time. It's a risky thing to do because if you're dying, you can't get out of it because you stay in character.
Yeah. And when I started doing stand-up, what I did was a bit of a character, but I found it was too hard to write. Like I didn't really realize the form of what I was working in. So I did I wrote like a 7-minute set about, and it was this girl who was the most normal person in Ireland, and she was representing Ireland in the normal Olympics. This was, so the story was that I was returned to Ireland, and I was telling the audience about how I got on at the normal Olympics that were abroad. And so that was good, and it went, you know, it was good fun to do. But then, like, because that went well, I then started to get offered a 20-minute set, and that was only 7, so I had to write another 13 minutes of material. But it didn't connect in my brain that the 13 minutes needed to be about the person who was at the normal Olympics like that.
Right.
So I just started to do other stuff, and then I could see the audience kind of having to readjust, you know, that, like, you know, is this the same person? And in the end, I think I dropped the normal stuff and just started to write my own stand-up as I went forward. But yeah, I guess it wasn't too clear to me at the time that the normal Olympics girl I was playing was a character. I just thought it was, you know, this is something I wrote, and the next thing is something I wrote as well, and it didn't. Yeah, it took.
All right. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do. I don't do I mean, you could probably do a character in an Edinburgh show, but to do it in Pods and Pods, it's very difficult. Yeah. So, Eleanor, are you doing live gigs at the minute? Have they returned?
As and when they come up, yeah. So yeah, like whatever is going on in London, I've done a few Banana Cabaret and Balham, and a few in Battersea Arts Centre and that. But yeah, it's I guess it's all up in the air at the moment.
Right.
You know, there was one in Ireland. There was a chance I was going to come back to Ireland and do a gig, and I was kind of like, lads, I don't know if I can, because I'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks for the gig. And it wasn't actually, it was a TV thing, like a trial of a panel show that they were doing. And they were like, no, because it's television, you'd be a key worker. You're considered a key worker. And I was like, really? Okay, I'll go with that. Key worker Tiernan coming through Dublin Airport.
Wow, I didn't know.
But
key workers.
in the end, I asked for like a clarification on that, so that I could have like some backup, you know, if anyone questioned me. And it turned out that the definition of a key worker is very different when you're traveling within the country and when you're traveling between countries. So you're in Ireland and you're just driving to work, loads of people are key workers. But if you're traveling from one country to another country, key worker, you have to be like transporting an organ or something like that.
You could have maybe brought an organ as well and did the panel show, but
well, I have organs inside me, so I could.
Well, you're literally transporting organs everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, can you recommend to me some acts that you'd seen or worked with on the circuit that that floats your boat?
There's a comedian called Sean McLaughlin working over here in the UK.
I know him, yeah. I've
nodding. Yeah. I would like him to be known more and appreciated by Joe Rooney's audience. I think he's great, and I think he's tackling, like, you know, he's really funny and tackles like kind of great subjects. So yeah, I think go for him.
Oh, that's a brilliant recommendation. I've worked with him in Brussels in the slaughtered lamb, I think it's called, or something. Brussels. And yeah, he is amazing. I've looked at loads of his stuff on YouTube actually after I worked with him. Just loved what he did, because he kind of really, he makes himself out to be a complete loser. It's a brilliant
yeah.
There he goes. So well, listen, it's been brilliant chatting to you, Eleanor. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in
likewise. Yeah.
So congratulations on, do you say congratulations on I don't know. Yeah. But yeah. So
I hope you have a lot of sex now. I hope you have
yeah. Hope it all works out for you. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's been great chatting to you, and thanks a lot for coming on, and I'll no doubt see you at some point in the future at a gig.
Thanks, Joe. Lovely to talk to you.
Great to talk to you. Bye, Eleanor. Bye.
Bye.